Those, right? They have been with us for such a long time, many hundreds of years, maybe even thousands of years. I don't know. I haven't looked at the research, but they're very versatile. You can cook them in sweet dishes. You can cook them in dishes that are sour. I'd say they're kind of neutral, right? But not boring. And what's interesting, right, is the taste. You know, if you look at the taste of the outer skin on the potato, sometimes, you know, like just below that outer skin, it's kind of sweet, right? And of course, the size, if you have like a big potato, you know, like a very big potato, sometimes they're not as good, but small ones, they have more aroma, right? And then, I mean, coming from the impact on society, if you look at it, it's incredible. What it has enabled us to do is storing that energy. The sun gives the energy, goes into the potato plant. Yes, there is some bad stuff that's happening, killing the potato bugs, you know. There were a lot of potato bugs. I used to be on a potato field. I had a girlfriend, her parents, they were, what do you say, on the countryside, right? You have the potato bugs, then you have to harvest the potatoes. You drive with the tractor. Almost had an accident. I drove with the tractor. Not a good tractor driver, right? But they store the energy, right? There's the energy in the potatoes. In the wintertime, you have something to eat. And they're lying in the cellar and they can lie there forever, right? Takes a long time. If you cover them with some earth, some soil, it takes a long time until they get moldy, until they spoil. So you have a lot of fun with potatoes. I mean, if the Egyptians, imagine, right? This is purely hypothetical. I'm not saying that's how it was. I wrote the thread about, you know, Egypt, the pyramids, where they're built by extraterrestrials, right? I wrote the thread about that. There's some research. Make it short, no, they were not built by extraterrestrials. Exciting as it would be, but no, I don't think so. But if they would have had potatoes, they would have used them. And maybe their civilization would have thrived even more at that time, or maybe not. It might have impacted their whole way they do art, you know, instead of the art that is depicting like the wheat, because like wheat was at the foundation of that civilization, right? To nourish so many people, huge population. Maybe if they would have had potatoes, you know, all the drawings and the stuff they made, there would be more like roundness in them. Maybe the gods would have changed, inspired by the potato plant. That's the next thing. Shamanism. People think there are spirits, potato plant spirit, all plants have spirits. It's an interesting idea, right? But yeah, you can mash the potato. If you mash the potato, then you can do all kinds of stuff. You can mix stuff with it, makes it more interesting. I personally don't eat potatoes because, I mean, they have a lot of carbs, right? So I don't like that. Not too many carbs. But what you can do is you put the potatoes, you cook them, and then you put the potatoes into the fridge. You let them cool down. And once they've cooled down, the carbs in the potatoes, they actually get metabolized differently by your body, right? It's like a slower reacting carb. So that is one amazing way. Of course, there's a lot of dishes with potatoes. If you make potatoes in the evening, and Hamid, so I'm so happy you're joining. You're probably wondering, why is he talking about potatoes? So to give a little bit of context, what I'm practicing here is basically sub-communication. You have the layer of communication, that is the words you're saying. Beneath that, you have another layer, which is what is not in the words. It's the energy you bring across. As you can tell, I'm really excited about the potatoes. I'm like, wow, such an amazing vegetable. I don't eat them personally, but bless everyone who loves potatoes. Maybe you love potatoes. Hamid, I don't know if you have them at home, but what is going on at that lower level is basically we're communicating all the things that are stored in our subconscious, our sense of self-worth, all this stuff. It comes out anyways, like we can try to fake it. You know, we're in the office, we're really pissed, whatever, we have a customer who's not appreciative. Yes, it can be suppressed to a certain, hopefully I'm not getting run over today. Thank you very much for letting me pass. So we can suppress it to some extent, but people are very perceptive. To more or higher or lower degree, some people are not perceptive. If you're not perceptive, I'm very sorry for you. Can't do anything about that, but you can train that. I'm just kidding. I think every person is perceptive, but sometimes, you know, if you work with a lot of people, if it's overwhelming, you're a creative soul, you're a very sensitive person that feels a lot, then it can be overwhelming. You have to tone it down, right? And we often do that as children. We grow up, there's so much input, there's so much going on, there's maybe pain, maybe some trauma at home, parents fighting, whatever, like difficult stuff can happen. And we tone down our, what they call it, the spider senses, right? We have our spider senses, which we need. We need the spider senses to make art, right? To feel into things, to be like perceptive. But if our environment is very difficult, sometimes we get numb, or we numb it. We take drugs to numb that. We don't want to feel so much because what we're feeling is painful. And yeah, this has a negative side effect. We also get less perceptive, and we don't have so many resources, such a big array of observations and maybe even ideas to draw from when we're making our art. Whatever that art is, if you're talking, singing, making music, writing, so many ways you can make art, building something with your hands, raising children, many beautiful things you can do. But how is that linked to potatoes, you might be questioning? Well, if you eat a lot of potatoes, you can also stuff down your emotions with potatoes. You're like, I'm emotional, I'm an emotional eater. You eat a lot of potatoes, you're like, you don't even like the taste, but you're like, you just want to stuff it down, have those emotions gone, right? Well, negative long-term consequences, but there's worse foods to do that with than potatoes. So I'd say it's a medium choice, 1 to 10, 5.5, still on the positive side. Yes, you agree. Thank you very much. Yes. Well, or drugs, right? So if you have the choice, potatoes or drugs, do potatoes. You know, let's do more potatoes. Doing potatoes, that might sound like, you know, you do a potato. I think that's like an aggressive term. To do somebody is like to hurt them or something. I don't know. Sorry, I don't want to go there. Please don't report me. Hamid, please don't report anybody else. Please don't report me. You know, I cannot bear it. Emotional burden. I need acceptance. We all do. Gonna switch into the shade. Had enough sun. As you can see, the summer is in full swing here, although there's a dog. As you know, I have a slight anxiety, but it seems safe enough. The dog doesn't seem aggressive yet. No, it's not. Very good. So yeah, that was my rant. That was basically, context was, I was just exploring that lower like level. There's like, you can talk about anything basically and not pay attention so much on what you're talking about, but what is the energy that you're bringing across, right? Oftentimes we're so focused on, what do I say? You know, we're flirting with somebody and you're trying to, what's the best thing to say? I need to be clever. We're at the job interview. What's the best thing to say? I cannot make any mistakes. Interesting thing, yeah, like I said, people, they notice more what's going on subconsciously. And I talked about this yesterday in my life. Why is that? Subconscious, not subconscious, but what is it? Body language, sub-communication, below the level of just the words, the concepts, eye contact, right? The tonality, maybe a melody, inner voice, how we use our body, gestures, what we do with our face, right? Just the energy that is expressed through the layer that is not just the words. And the interesting thing is when you start paying attention to that, it's kind of interesting, right? They say that with the breath, they say, and I'll come back to that. They say the breath is the only physiological process in the body that is both accessible via our subconscious, because you are being breathed when you sleep, like breath is happening. You don't need to go like breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, like all night long. You know, maybe some nights, I know you can have a difficult night. Some nights you're like, yes, breath in, breath out, calm down mind. I need to catch some sleep. When is it coming? When is the sleep finally arriving? And you're counting your breath, you're counting the sheep. Okay, different example. But usually, when you're not aware, the breath is happening on its own. But you can also consciously regulate your breath. So you can tap into a system, a very deep system of the body, and the breath is connected to the nervous system, vagus nerve, you know. There's a lot happening in the body, and it's connected to your breath in many ways, right? So you can change how you use your breath, and by doing that, change your state of mind and how your body is operating. You can use it to calm yourself down. Great breath is 6 seconds in, one that I like to use. If you're smaller, if you're like a very small person, you know, like a tiny person, very small, maybe up to my knee or something, like, no, I'm a midget. Bless you. Maybe you need a different breathing pattern. If you're like a tall person, you're like Lucas, you know, little boy here. I'm 2 meters, I'm a basketball player. I'm a gal, I play basketball, you know, very tall. You don't even know what tall is, little one. You can tap me on the head. You're like, okay, maybe you need a different breathing pattern. Maybe big one needs a slower one, smaller person, like a cat, you know, like the cat's going. Yes, thank you. Cat's going like, or no, that's a dog, right? Oh, I got that wrong. Yeah, that was a faux pas, sorry. Need to read up on my animal biology. Need to take some biology lessons, right? If you can give some biology lessons to me, please. And if you're a woman, please. If you're a man, no, thank you. But yes, the cat, how does the cat also breathe? Cat also breathes quickly because the cat is small lung, small body, needs to breathe quickly. So you might have to adapt it. 6 seconds in and 2 second hold and a 7 second out. So breathing out longer than breathing in activates the parasympathetic nervous system. That is the part of the nervous system that is kind of chilling you down, relaxing you, you know. Conversely, if you breathe in longer, breathe out shorter, it's going to activate you. You can use that. In the same way, that's a long, very long-winded story, talking about the midgets, other things. People have zoned out. They're like, you know, what are you talking about? First you start with the potato, like what's going on? Then you tell this long story. Get to the point, right? Okay, I'm trying really hard, doing my best. Please don't put so much pressure on me. It's not good for me. I need to practice my breathing pattern. 6 seconds in. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it now, but later, I promise, I need it. So what you can do when you play with your subcommunication is you get awareness of what's going on with you. Like if you're always caught on the mental level of the words, your ideas in your head, you're in your head. If you get to your body, you can actually feel, oh, this is my energy, you know. I'm contracting all kinds of muscles in my body when I ask for my raise, right? Or when I talk to this person that I like, I'm like, oh, all contracted. Of course, the energy they're gonna get is like a very contracted, limited energy in your presence, and they feel like, oh, I'm not feeling good. What's going on, you know? And it's just mirror neurons. They're feeling that from you, off of you. So it gives you awareness, what's going on in your own system, and by starting to modulate certain parts of your expression, right? Like I'm doing right now, you know, which is weird, right? But it's just a kind of a practice. By doing that, it's like you're painting with crayons or with colors. You're like, oh, there's a green one. Let me try it out, right? And you kind of start to learn how to use those colors and how to mix them in a way that you want to mix them. That's good. That's giving you the results you want, that's giving you a good feeling where you're like, yes, I feel better this way, you know? Used to talk so grumpy, used to talk like this because I really tried to sound manly, but it's actually not my voice. And maybe then you start talking like this, you talk really high, you know, but you're like, no, I am feeling better this way because I am naturally more feminine. And so my voice needs to go higher, right? Maybe that, maybe not, maybe no. Please don't. It's really like the word with G, right? No offense again. Please don't report. So it's basically a process where you're exploring, you're learning, and you're finding new ways to express yourself more authentically. What is authentic? Authentic is not, this is my past version. That's not a good definition, in my opinion, of authenticity. Authenticity is what feels right to me right now, in this moment, you know? And maybe there's some fear, you're like, I want to lean into that. I'm actually a different person, right? You're out of a breakup. For example, you know, big life changes. You're moving to a new city. You're like, all people are new. It's a new environment. Nobody knows me. This is so freeing. You know, people talk about that. This is so freeing. People have no expectations. I can be anybody, right? Yes, you can. If you're in your old environment. Yes, testosterone very high today. As you can see, again, another good day. So what happens when you are in an old environment and you do that? Well, you get friction. People are like, no. Why are you suddenly talking in that high-pitched, weird voice, right? You're like, no, this is me, right? I'm authentic, right? I have a more feminine part here. And they're like, no, this is weird, because they're not used to it. So there's some friction, right? Gotta get through that. How do you get through that? Stuff it down, eat some potatoes, push those emotions down, you know, whatever way you want to eat them. Stuffed potatoes, you can mix them like with milk if you're not lactose intolerant, right? Be careful if you're lactose intolerant. If you have a lot of farting going on after that, don't blame me for that. That's your responsibility, how you eat those potatoes. But you can stuff down the emotions, right? You like people, they're like, no, you sound so weird, you've changed. You're like, it's fine, you know, you just stuff it down, you feel better about yourself, right? Good solution. Like I said, better than drugs. Children are playing, very happy children. It's a delight. Well, you're gonna have friction, you gotta deal with that friction in some way, but there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel, because at some point, one, you're not gonna care anymore. You're like, I just feel this is more aligned with me, even if people don't like it. Eventually I'll find people who will like it, you know, maybe not my existing friends group. Or if you're after a breakup, that probably makes it easier, because there's a different environment. People are not gonna be like, no, this is not who you used to be. It's different. Yes, a new person has joined that has never been on a live. One person, please don't leave. Please stay. Please stay. Yes, I forgot what I said. So nervous now. One person in this live. Yes, I'm sweating, not because of the sun, just feeling nervous now. So changing, more authenticity. Authenticity being what you feel in the moment you want to do. What is the sub-communication if you experiment with your voice? Maybe you take up some more space, you know, in the subway if you're a man, if you're a woman. Maybe some less space if you're used to taking up a lot of space. Don't expose your balls. If there's women sitting there, it can be a bit threatening, uncomfortable. Sometimes as men, we don't know that. You know, we're like, no, perfectly safe to walk here in this neighborhood. And then you see women, you're like, why are they so scared, so like kind of protective? They're physically weaker, right? So they have a different experience in the world. They have a different experience, more vulnerable, unless it's like women who are professional fighters, you know, they're like, no, fuck off, right? I'm not vulnerable, and they just probably would hit me, right? Please don't hit me. I'm very sensitive, not very strong, And yeah, it wouldn't be a good experience. I have past trauma, probably gonna sue you. So don't do it. It's a risk for you. Very bad experience for me. But you can shift when you experiment how you use your voice, how you use eye contact, all those things that you usually don't pay attention to because you're maybe in your head. You can experiment with those. That's why I talked about the potatoes for 10 minutes, if you were wondering, right? Because I was experimenting. What can I do with my body, you know? How can I bring some beautiful, amazing energy into that discussion, into that potato monologue? But it wasn't so hard because naturally I'm excited about potatoes. It's a great vegetable. Like I said, so many applications in the kitchen. There's even some other stuff I've heard, like if you have like a wound or something, you can cut the potato. It does something to the skin. It's like magic. So much you can do, right? And they grow again and again. You put them in the air, you know, and they come again. You have to be careful. I'm not a gardener, right? There's some things, there's a process, like with anything in life. But yeah, that was the gist of things. If you feel you want to change something, maybe not approach it on the intellectual level. Maybe see what is your body doing? How is your body feeling? Is there tension? What's the eye contact? How are you using your voice? Are you talking very quietly? Are you talking louder? Are you talking very loud, right? What's the subcommunication that's going on? And then you can start dialing, changing those things. Oh, keep it up, man. Love your Josh. My Josh, I hope you're not talking about my, you know, what, lower down there. That would be offensive. Oh, yes, stay a bit longer. You have some work. Thank you so much. Yes, but you still left. You still left. Yeah, I'd say that was an excuse. Very socially adapted. I appreciate it, though. Thank you so much for dropping by. Yeah, that was basically it, right? Authenticity, experimenting with what is below the conscious, just the words that you're using, subcommunication, body language, and painting with that, like with crayons. You're like, what's the green one doing? What's the blue one doing? What happens if I combine the blue one and the green one? And there's a new color, right? And then you can paint that tapestry of life. Your social interactions are gonna blossom. You're gonna have more fun. Maybe people around you too. Some people are gonna hate you. Well, it's always, not everybody can like you. That's a given, that's acceptable. But you're gonna find people that resonate with that, and you're gonna enjoy yourself a lot more. So that was my rant. Potatoes, authenticity, self-expression. Have an amazing day. Enjoy. Talk to you soon.